Today we're going to be looking at the ProtoArc MECH K300 mechanical keyboard. This mechanical keyboard comes with Bluetooth, USB dongle Bluetooth, and wired compatibility, which doubles as a USB to USB-C charging cable. In this review, I'll be showing off the keyboard and giving my thoughts on the device after I've used it for about 2 months. By the end of the video, I will have a comprehensive scoring guide so you can better gauge if the product is something that you would be interested in. Like our sponsor, Excel Draw, Microsoft Excel add-in that will allow you to open and even create CAD style type drawings inside of Microsoft Excel with no extra CAD applications required. Let me start off this review by saying that this is the second mechanical keyboard that I have ever owned. The first being the typewriter keyboard by 7 Keys that I reviewed on the channel earlier this year. The reason why I purchased this keyboard was because the 7 Keys typewriter was A, lacking a numpad, and B, was very loud. That being said, I do absolutely adore and love my typewriter keyboard. In the video, I give it a poor score because I think it's A, overpriced, B, very gimmicky, and C, doesn't have a numpad on it. Writing scripts or typing articles, I use the mechanical typewriter for that. But for work and programming, it wasn't cutting it. The ProtoArc keyboard coming in at just $50 was the ideal price. I wanted a mechanical keyboard with mid to high profile keys, white backlight, and heavy enough that it wouldn't slide around on the table whenever it's in use. Honestly, this keyboard checks all those boxes, and it gets full points for functionality from me. When I first opened the package, I must say that I was very happy to see that it came with not only a USB to USB-C charging cable that was a very good length, but also it came with a USB Bluetooth dongle in case your computer didn't have an adapter. Or in case your computer does have an adapter, you can only connect one device per adapter at a time. So the fact that it came with a USB dongle for Bluetooth to allow you to connect just for that keyboard was a really big plus for me. Overall, the packaging was good, came with everything needed to get started, and was pretty intuitive to set up. The instructions stepped me through everything I needed to know, and I was up and going in pretty much no time. I would prefer if it was a little bit more simple. I miss the days of just plug and play devices where you plug in a device or sync it to a computer and everything just takes off and works automatically. But with the amount of setup that came with this keyboard being so minimal, I can't really complain. And now we get to my gripes about this keyboard. First is the pressure it takes to press a key. The keyboard is heavy, like metal heavy, which is awesome. I love the feel of the keyboard. It weighs a good chunk. It doesn't feel cheap. It looks and feels like brushed nickel aluminum. It's heavy and it doesn't move whenever I'm in a heavy programming session. Like, it will just stay put, and that is awesome. I love it. But what is not so nice is that that amount of weight doesn't carry over to the keys. I am constantly finding myself pushing random buttons whenever my hand is just resting on the keyboard. Now, it doesn't happen all the time, but it happens enough that it becomes quite annoying. I've never liked an easy press keyboard. My second gripe is the backlight. The backlight is just not very bright. In a dark room, it's fine, but in a well-lit room, you can tell the light is on only because the letters on the keyboard are visible. That's it. It's like If you look down at it in a normal lit room, it just looks like a normal keyboard. I would also like to point out that I did not try to change the RGB or LEDs with the company app that they recommend that you download and install to modify those lights and colors and whatnot. Instead, I just went off the default settings of the keyboard because all I wanted was a white backlight on the keys. The next I'm going to knock this keyboard for is the battery life. Yes, I do leave the backlight on. It's on constantly. But I would expect more than a 24-hour battery life on the keyboard from fully charged. And when I say that I'm leaving it on, it's not on 100% of the time for that 24 hours. That would be insane. Instead, if the keyboard is idle for about 5 minutes, the backlights turn off, it goes into power saving mode, and for all intents and purposes, the keyboard's basically, just shut itself down. After a full day of use, the keyboard is pretty much dead. And if I'm lucky, it'll last 2 work days without needing a full recharge. The typewriter keyboard, on the other hand, which backlights get way brighter versus the brightest lights there, this, with the lights going, I haven't charged it in about a week and it's still going, and I type on it every day for several hours a day. And please know that I gave that last score knowing what I expect from a keyboard. For the past 20 years, I only bought cheapo keyboards from Amazon, and when those boards are $10 and outperforming something that costs almost 5 times as much, I can't really score it high. Just like I can't score it high on engagement. I always say that if you sell a product and it doesn't matter what it is, it has to be memorable in some way. There has to be something that stands out about the product that makes somebody say, oh yeah, I remember that. With the iPod, it was listening anywhere. With this 7 keys typewriter, it was the typewriter functionality on a digital platform. With XYZ Mesh, it's graphing XYZ data in 3D and being able to share it with anyone. Our sponsor. XYZ Mesh is an application that will take XYZ data and plot it in 3 dimensions. But not only that, it will allow you to export those 3D graphs into Microsoft Excel as a surface graph, 3D scatter plot, or even 3D lines. It's not just limited to Microsoft Excel either. You can even export this into a 3-dimensional interactive video game. Take your surface plot that you have made, generate assets on it like trees and rocks and things like that, and make an environment that you can actually interact with. It's pretty cool. The best part of XYZ Mesh is no matter what export type you choose, either Microsoft Excel, Surface Graph, 3D plots, as long as they have an active Microsoft Excel account or a spreadsheet application that can view graphs, they can completely interact with your graph that you make. And the interactive model, as long as the user is running a Windows 7 machine, it will run. Everything is contained inside of its own file. All you have to do is just open it up. Go to the link in the description down below and download your full 5-day free evaluation of XYZ Mesh. If you enjoyed the evaluation of the product, you can use this promo code at checkout to get an additional... Are you serious? To get an additional 50% off your purchase, but this is only viable for the next 50 users. So if you want to get a sweet deal, honestly, go to the link in the description, use this promo code on checkout. You'll be amazed what kind of graphs you can create and the interactivity you can have just using this program. That aside, this keyboard really doesn't stand out much in my mind for any reason other than it feels like metal. Like, it's heavy and I love it for that. It's nice and it functions like a keyboard should, but that isn't enough to make it memorable. Now comes a redeeming quality, the price. This keyboard was around $45 US when I picked it up on Amazon. It looks like you can snag the same keyboard from anywhere between $40 to $55, so I think I got it at a normal listing price. That being said, for what it is, I can't say that I'm dissatisfied with what I got. It is the cheapest mechanical mid-rise keys with number pad keyboard that I could find, so my expectations were not exactly high. I expected $50 of productivity, and that's what I got. honestly, for what it is, I think the price is spot on. A good mechanical keyboard with numpad, not too loud, backlit, wired, or wireless, and at a good price. Honestly, you can't go wrong with this keyboard. I wish that the keys were not so sensitive, and that the LEDs were a bit brighter. That aside, I think it's well within its price point, and I would recommend this keyboard to somebody if they were okay with the downsides that I just pointed out. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this review has helped you out. If it has, consider subscribing and checking out our sponsor. Both of those things help us out and allow us to grow. Thank you very much, and until next time, have a great rest of your day.